My name is Eric Blue. I'm Director of Growth Marketing for Grow Capitalist Investment. We're primarily a multifamily and build-to-rent syndicator, and we both buy, value add, and do new construction. Many of you may know Neil Bawa is known as the mad scientist of multifamily. So if he's known as the mad scientist, I'm Igor. I'm the one that implements all the strategies we come up with.
Love it. This is going to be an exciting panel. Looking forward to talking analytics, everybody. I'm Jason Fishman. I run an agency called DNA out of Los Angeles, California. We do fintech marketing across investor and user acquisition campaigns. So looking forward to speaking with you about audience building, about how we're framing these tokenized assets. We've worked on hundreds of investor acquisition campaigns, have over 30 that are live as we're speaking here today. Also host the Test Optimize Scale podcast and share insights from those initiatives there.
Happy Saturday, guys. And I'm really chill right now. I'm fresh off my honeymoon. So you guys get a really relaxed version with me today. My name is Verna J. I'm the CEO at Equity Coin. We're the first digital token backed by affordable housing. On my brokerage, I've done over 200 million in transactions, been in the game for 17 years, got into blockchain in 2016, really heavy. I started to travel all over the world, Dubai, Hong Kong, Singapore, all over this country, learning about how real estate and blockchain intersect. And at that same time, I started to build my own portfolio of affordable housing projects in Brooklyn, New York. And just had this idea with one of my best friends who's a cryptographer and who built out Venmo and PayPal's blockchain system. And we came up with this opportunity where people within the community can actually own assets, and people who are making more than 200,000 or making a little bit more money can actually provide affordable housing for families who are homeless. So at this very moment, we are housing homeless families that are living in shelters.
Hello, my name is Kirill Bishanin. I am the founder of InfoDriver Capital. So we do asset management of crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and stablecoins. We have capital around $30 million under asset management, and profit we invest in real estate. So we purchase property in Dubai, we purchase property in Indonesia, and we also helping people to buy property officially through crypto transactions, and to do it with a legal way and all that stuff. So I have 7 years background in blockchain development. I'm ex-IBM blockchain guy and ex 10 years of IT sales development in US.
Right, so once again, we don't have a moderator, and I wasn't prepared for this. But so I think the theme here was, how do we build community? How do we, I think one of the big challenges around tokenization and blockchain is still the education component. And so the way at Grow Capitalist, in fact, we have an entire content marketing platform called Multifamily University, which is 100% free education. And I kind of look at the, kind of the tokenization side of the property. It's the same strategy. Our best investors or targeted potential investors have no idea what a syndication is, don't know that alternative assets exist. They've been conditioned that you have to invest in your 401k or traditional like stock market. So we have a robust lead nurturing program where we bring people in, and first you have to convince them, or educate them around the syndication, what it is, and then becomes the hard part. Then you have to convince them why they should invest with you. So having a content strategy around that is a great way to build community. And once you educate them, then they know, like, and trust you, and then you can put investments in front of them. And we're preparing to tokenize our first properties, and we imagine that process will be similar.
To build on that concept of community, you want to ask why digital? Digital allows for scale. So yes, I've been watching deals take place over the last couple days here offline. Meanwhile, if you're able to simplify a message, if you're able to take audiences through an educational funnel, to the point where they're not only bringing in the information, but they're taking it in a level that they can share with those around them. They can do peer-to-peer marketing, the ultimate form of marketing. You have the ability to then take thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of prospective investors, accredited investors for different types of initiatives. Was listening to the Reg A conversations on the last panel, can include retail investors through these different funnels. As Eric's mentioning, yes, there is a learning curve, and you don't want to go over people's head. There used to be a rule about, let's say it's enterprise blockchain. First rule is you don't talk about blockchain. You want to feature the function and then show what's under the hood afterwards. So getting the messaging dialed, being able to see the right conversion rates all the way through the funnel, through the process with the right amount of touch points. Most investors are not going to convert on the first touch point. You can build up these audiences. Then when you move past why, you look at the power of the audience. And I think that's what a lot of the portals, that's what a lot of the platforms are doing right now, is they're stacking their accredited investor audiences. Their deals are going to close in quicker and quicker fashions as a rule of thumb over the next 5 years, the next 10 years. I'm excited to see what 2025, 2030 look like. As great as 2022, even rounding up the stats has been. So that audience, even if you're looking at low click-through rates, low response rates, you're still seeing volume come through the end if there's enough scale. So we're working with groups to put enough efforts in to have long-term plans to build out those audiences, to keep them engaged, to keep them nurtured. To me, when I'm going through my checklist of ideal groups to work with, the audience is the most powerful part.
No, for sure. Just to piggyback off of that, it's I think with every blockchain project, community is the basis of it. It is the basis. And I think one of our most valuable trademarks that we have at Equity Platforms is the sharing equity economy. And I think my guy from Invenium spoke about this earlier, but I think the sharing equity economy 1.0 was with the advent of Uber, Airbnb, Turo. Like he said, 15, 20 years ago, if I said you were going to sleep in a stranger's home, you would probably laugh me out of the room. But now we do that, very willingly today. And I think, even, I have a question for the audience. How many people here own a website? I would say that's probably like 95% of people. And I think, looking back prior to 1991, it was illegal for people to own a website. The government needed to figure out how to regulate it first. And I think if you compare that to where we are with tokenization, like let's just ask another question. How many people here have their own smart contract and have their own token, that have created their own token, right? So we probably about 1%, and same thing, 20, 30 years ago, if I asked that same question about the websites, it would be about 1% of people that would have it. So I think if we look into the future, 10, 15, 20 years, everybody's going to be raising their hands because you're not going to want to invest in a company that's not tokenized. You're not going to invest in a real estate that's not tokenized because it creates those efficiencies that just makes sense, right? Why would I do it any other way? Same thing, why would you build a business without having a website? It's crazy. So I think that's where we're headed, and the sharing equity economy will be the forefront of the community and building it out.
So guys, how to grow your wealth? It just grow your community. So that's why you need to educate yourself on technology. You need to educate your study on some courses, college, whatever you want to, and connect with people who push you up. 2 years ago, I was a guy who do fundraising for other companies. I raised 1.2 million for one Arabic exchange. And I decided what's next. I have a huge community. I spoke more of 40 events globally for last 2 years. And what's next? And I decided to connect all my community in one fund. So I create a blockchain token. I raise capital. I close seed round for 1 week. I create events like Crypto Yach Investors Party. And the idea is not just have party about party. It's invite wealthy people who know the rules, who know the strategy, how the technology going, and do not invite the guys who will spoil the market, who are the scammers, who are the not wealthy people, or whatever, who puts your project down. And now, after 2 years, we fully regulated fund. We have office in UK, we have office in Panama. We build our technology. We even put those digital assets into real assets. Now we invest in real estate. The blockchain gives a chance to everybody to have connection to the wealth without any fathers, mothers, or some wealthy grandparents. You, by your own, could create your wealth of using technology.
Yeah, so this has been kind of top level so far. The question I always get as a marketer is people always ask me for strategy or tactics or things they can actually do. You know, we've heard about audience and community, and people are like, well, how do I build that community? How do I manage that community? So at Growth Capitalist, we kind of have a unique approach. So from a tactical standpoint, we have what's a growth department. My department's dedicated totally to growth. We have a separate department that kind of maintains the websites and manages the community. So this came out of the concept of growth hacking, is where early stage startups that need explosive growth with minimum budget, how do you scale quickly? And at Grow Capitalist, we went from 65 million in assets in 2019 to over $1 billion because we could scale rapidly by implementing these tactics. So one thing, if you're going to build a community, you need to, as part of your brand or part of your community identity, you come up with a common theme that binds that. Anybody who's familiar with Neil Bauer, Grow Capitalist, knows our brand is nerd. We're the geeks, we're the dorks, we're very data driven, and because we're so focused on that approach, we attract tech execs, the doctors, people that really have technical ability and access. And it was actually funny. We kind of stayed. We started out with kind of the basics of the benefits of investing in syndication. We've moved way beyond that, and as we've done that, we've kind of changed our database to now we have extremely sophisticated people, higher net worth, because we're so focused on our community of being this specific type of person, and that's allowed us to scale really fast. And also, kind of looking at it, I talked to Michael Flight, about a year ago, and as we started looking into tokenization, and we're like, okay, well, where's the audience? And we quickly realized that educating our current sophisticated and accredited investors into teaching them about tokenization is much easier than trying to go out and acquire a new investor, particularly the crypto bros, the Tesla Taliban. We're never going to convince them that this is the way to go, right? So we're saying, but taking our current investors who know, like, and trust us, and saying, hey, we're going to create this opportunity for liquidity. We just see that as a great opportunity of just expanding on the community that we've already built.
Sure, and I get addressed with that question often. What do we do to market? How do we build the audience? It's traffic sources, it's content marketing funnels, but I like to take it further back and spend time on strategy, which not all founders want to do. It's, can you get me these results tomorrow? It's 4 o'clock, where are they? Where if we spend a month, there's a model I've built, 8-point plan, where you really get a pulse on the industry overview and competitor marketing audit. Imagine running campaigns against Eric and not understanding everything that the brand is doing, everything from the messaging, all the findings that you've had along the way. And that's what I see from startups quite often. So you really want to have an understanding, what ads are they running, what are they spending on ads, where are they getting the best performance, which writers are talking about them, which influencers, do they have a visible community, are they forming these groups on social platforms, what's happening in those discussions there in real time.
Funnel hacking.
Yeah, funnel hacking, exactly, because success leaves clues.
Exactly.
And you're playing for the next month's, the next year's success. So you're always going after the next thing. But from there, you can really understand your target audience, what they do, what else they're seeing online. Believe me, if you're running an ad, they're getting targeted with 10 ads like it in that same session. So you want to make sure your messaging is going to resonate. It's going to be stronger than that for the individuals you're going after. Then you can look at marketing channels. Then you can look at messaging. You can look at what's actually going to stand out to them. We break audiences down to personas. I could say, yes, Steven is going to click on this for this reason. And this is probably where he's going to do it. Saturday afternoon, at the park, killing a few minutes, watching his kids, and going in between these sites. Here's where we're going to reach him. From there, we look at opportunities for strategic partnerships, but I want to highlight the projection section. The only way to measure is with numbers. So if your marketing plan's not an algorithmic plan, if it's not showing, hey, top of the funnel, here's how much awareness we're getting, mid-funnel, here's how many people click through, then we're pointing at this social proof, this long-form content to validate the deal. This is the metrics there to then push out. You're really shooting in the dark. You're really telling yourself, I don't know if my marketing's gonna work, let me just tiptoe at this, when you need to build a model. And then my whole philosophy is the name of my podcast. It actually took a lot of work to break it down, but I think it's all encompassing. Test, optimize, scale. So test different channels to build up these audiences, test different messaging within, then see the numbers it's producing. Optimize towards pockets of performance, have variance for audience creative funnel, optimize towards where you're seeing the metrics. It's often different than where the assumptions are. We'll watch our clients shape their product around this too. And as investors, you've probably seen groups that are continuing to change their message and improve what they're doing, and the others that are staying stagnant. And then once you have that down, you can scale, and you can use your audiences to do so all the way through.
I love what you guys are talking about, and I think there's one word that's missing from the conversation, which is culture. I think the culture that you create, and through strategy, through specific things that you put into place, will kind of dictate how you're able to garner an increasing amount of people to come to where you want to come to. For Equity Coin, for example, our culture, we're diverse. We've got people making well above six figures, and they're coming together to house homeless families, right? That's our culture. That's what we do. And what we're doing right now is taking that infrastructure and white labeling it so that other people, everybody in the audience, can create a company, can tokenize their company, and have their own community with a system called Equity Share. So Equity Share is that way where everybody has their own unique sauce. That's without a doubt. And then being able to create that sauce around a community and around a culture, everybody, like I said, 20 years from now, everybody's going to have their own token with their own company. Similar to if you go to incorporate.com or one of these websites where you can create a business on a Delaware company. In a few years with Equity Share, even with other companies, you're going to be able to create a company and tokenize it right then and there. So you will have a tokenized company right as you send in your documents to the Delaware corporate department. So I think, like, when we talk about community and culture, this and then mix that in with tokenization, that's where you're gonna see the meld and start to gel in.
Yeah, that's a great point. You guys probably just saw in the last week or so the founder of Patagonia basically done it. That's a perfect example of a community and a business built around a value and a culture, and that's a great example of how powerful that could be.
So all of those comments are great for big companies with some budget, with some team, with history, etc. I recommend for a company who just jump into the market, care about product itself. The product makes a value, and they care about community, because the more motivated your community, they push the market. They will be your bloggers, they will be your CPA, CPM, whatever workers, because they really believe in your product, they use it daily basis, and they push further in the market. And they will protect you in some problem situation, because they with you at the beginning. So this is my suggestion for guys who just jump into the business 1, 2 or 3 years companies.
Yeah, so another question I often get is, okay, so if I'm going to build a community, how am I going to gather them and how am I going to communicate to that? And I see often, particularly new people, they go directly to social media. They think that's the great place. Facebook groups and whatnot. And what we've learned, basic our philosophy is don't build your house on rented land, right? I don't trust any of the social media platforms. They're not looking out for me. They're looking out for themselves. And any community they built on a social platform, they own. I don't own. So we primarily use social as lead generation and, more importantly, credibility. I mean, we don't use any of our social feeds for actually trying to acquire leads. But let's say if they hear Neil Lau on a podcast, the first thing they're going to do is Google you, Facebook you, and LinkedIn you. So you have to maintain a presence there, but it's for credibility more than for lead acquisition. And then our whole goal is for lead capture, right? Once we capture them, we get them into our system, we have a robust lead nurturing and community aspects where we do it through our webinar series and things of that nature. But where do you guys, now that you've developed a community, where do you gather them and how do you communicate with them?
So it goes back to that strategy of determining where the audience is, where they want to have a discussion, and setting up the right trails for due diligence. Meaning, if a Google search occurs, as you're mentioning, because it definitely does, and the audience chooses their selected channel, what's going to show up there? For some of the blockchain cryptocurrency clients we've worked with, it's been Discord, and that's where we've focused. Years back was Telegram. For other clients, it's LinkedIn. And LinkedIn, we were talking about all the features yesterday. Had some fun. I don't want to play off the word nerd marketing chats. I categorize myself as that too. And it's amazing to me how many people underutilize LinkedIn. We're talking about some of the invitation features, events, groups, all different types of publishing, broadcasting available there that you should take a look at. If you're broadcasting across multiple channels, I really like how you mentioned webinars. Webinars are awesome because you can have guests, and those guests can promote to their audience, and it serves as that third-party validation all the way through. Even just being on the panel here with you gentlemen, it's stronger than, at least if I'm up here speaking alone, I'd say any of us up here speaking alone, it serves as that. Exactly. So that's been a great place to have deeper engagement. You can go beyond just the ad, email. I'm such a big email fan. Sure, it can be old school. It's not the prettiest thing to bring to a cryptocurrency conversation, by the way. Still the #1 communication tool, as Eric's saying, can agree with that more, but you have to bring those audiences over. You have to use advertising, you have to use content marketing that's stimulating social shares from high authority links, publishers, influencers that are pointing at that content all the way through. And then you want to look at the data. It's not a matter of me to tell you this is the best channel for you, for your brand in October 2022. We haven't even been there yet. So being able to look at, have the pulse on what's occurring and shift with it has been instrumental for the groups that we work with. And a lot of times it's blinders, a lot of times it's the channels that we haven't looked for. Mentioned advertising earlier, that's more for community growth. And we have worked with groups that started intro-level ad spends, got up to very high levels, especially on the cryptocurrency exchange side, because we were able to see audiences really resonate with that messaging. So getting them over to the funnel, seeing what they do from there. And as I mentioned before, I'll emphasize again, it's all about the social sharing. It's all about who you're getting to talk about you.
No, for sure. So omni-channel marketing and getting out there is critical, especially when dealing with investors, because I didn't get that email, right? Oh, but we sent it using Superphone, which everybody should check out Superphone. It's a text message platform for businesses. It works wonders for me. But sending a text, sending a WhatsApp in our private WhatsApp group, sending a Discord, an email. So if you didn't get it from one of those channels regarding how to gain access to your tokens or whatever the message may be, then it's really on you. So I think having that omni-channel is it's been everything for us.
So as a new fund, we try to structure our message opposite. So we build our expertise in the market. So we're part of the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. We spoke on different blockchain technical events globally. So, and customers asking us, not we going to somewhere, I doesn't have zero advertising, I just have zero, even website is one pager with the whole presentation, license, all that stuff. To direct customers with whom I want to be target my message, I just check in just simple questions like, do you have crypto? Do you hold it? Do you want to invest? Do you want to have passive income? If he could answer the simple question, he's not my client. I don't want to waste time in education. I'm okay to educate you if you ask me. I don't insist on education if you wouldn't.
All right, I think we've got about 5 minutes left. Do we have any audience questions? Wow. Either we answered everything or this has been the most boring panel. Well, I guess we'll go through and just close up. So, I just want to, like I said, the community aspects, to really, build a community around your brand and, to foster that community. I see what we've already done on, with our syndication business. We've got a huge database, and I see a huge opportunity there to, bring those people along for the tokenization ride. And I think for, we're in a really good position because we already have that established track record, and we were a builder. We have $400 million of build-to-rent property coming online in the next 18 months. And we see that's really the best opportunity for tokenization. And if you look, everybody's been talking about liquidity here, and we always look at new construction as the best value add. I mean, you create the most intense value add when you build new product, and of course, getting the liquidity out of those projects is going to be huge. And we look at tokenization as being a great way to do that.
1000%. And I think the mainstream adoption rate is only going to increase as there's more success stories around this. It really all does come down to the audience. It all comes down to the investors. And I know a good percentage of the audience today are investors and looking for education around that. I think what I can add in that regard, because I work primarily with founders, with different groups, marketing to investors, polling investors, having a table where all sides are getting value. I think the thing to really point out is social sharing is key. When we're talking about messaging, it's referencing numbers, referencing third-party validation, publishers, different types of groups that have validated the deal, and talking about why tokenized assets, liquidity, what that means long term, all of the headaches it's solving, and yes, it's in early stage, but it's already working, and here is how you are benefiting. So, it's interesting to hear some of the discussions that we have on the marketing side, working with portals, working with issuers, working with sponsors, and it's all to create that closed loop system where the audience, the community continues to build and build from there.
I just want to make a point that I feel very strongly that the value in tokenization is in a hyper-local community level. Being in the real estate space for almost 20 years, working with family offices on 1031 exchanges, almost 200 million in transactions, when we go through a deal and we're trying to close on it, we have probably 6 to 12 lenders that we can choose from, right? There's a plethora of options when it comes to finding financing on the institutional side or high net worth individuals. I think the problem and the issue that we have is on the hyper community level, that developer who has 10 units who's looking to get to the 100 units. That leap is so hard because you go to a bank and the bank says, well, we need to see that you've done 100 units already. And if you haven't done that, then we can't back your deal, or you're gonna need a guarantor, a rich uncle, or whoever to guarantee your deal. So when you talk about tokenization and tapping into community, the value is going to be on the ground level for community developers. That's what we want to focus on with Equity Share, with our Equity Share platform, is helping those community developers take that leap into the bigger properties, bigger projects through tokenization.
From technology side, we are on the beginning of tokenization. For example, if you want to tokenize your real estate shares or whatever, you still need to work with documents. You still need to go and fix it as you fixed it before. It's just extra labor. The future will be once a government merge the solution with blockchain. So it means your NFT certificate, it's the only document which proves you hold the shares, you hold the property, etc. Once you send it to another guy, he now the owner. Once the government fixes this issue, this is the reality, and it will be the future of tokenization, any assets, what you even could imagine.
Alrighty, well, I want to thank the panel, and I want to encourage you guys. I mean, as you can tell, we're pretty passionate about marketing and love nerding out about this stuff. So please make sure you search these guys out, and why don't you give them a big round of applause?
Oh, we're doing a picture. Okay, Eric, do a picture. Okay. So while they're doing that, we are going to break for lunch. We've got an awesome lunch today. So, I guess they're cutting the mic up here on me. So, go with one. So we're gonna have. Am I having two mics? I'll just go with two mics. That'll look better. I'll just be. You know, I was at a show the other day, like a musician show, and there was a guy playing both the saxophone and the clarinet at the same time, putting two mouthpieces in his mouth playing. It was one of the most incredible things I've ever seen. So I feel like I'm doing that right now. But so we're gonna have another panel. This was the marketing panel of, you know, how do you find the right people for your deals that are investing in your tokenized deals. Next.